Unseen It. Unseen Radio. You're listening to Bedge Music Review Corner on Unseen Radio.
Hello, my name's Bedge and you're listening to the Unseen Radio Review Corner. Right, let's get things started. The first track up for discussion today is by Ocasan and it's called London Town.
What's going down in London town? Come on and all and see the clouds. There's a freaky circus London bound. They're gonna smash it up and burn it down. They'll smash it up and burn it down. Majesty peered out the palace and seen the mess from Tottenham to up Green. Even pigs keep their sty clean. What's going down in London town? Going down in London town. Come on it on and see the clowns. There's a freaky circus London bound. They're gonna smash it up and burn it down. Down and broke his crown, picking a fight in London town. Lucky Jill's got new shoes now. She robbed the place and burnt it down. What's going down in London town? Come on and on and see the clowns. There's a freaky circus London bound. Gonna smash it up and burn it down. What's going down in London? Going down in London. Going down in London town.
That was Ocasan there on the Unseen Radio Review Corner. Comes from their new EP called London Town also. They're releasing an album called Elixir in the form of 3 different EPs, produced by Romesh Dondangoda, who has produced for everyone from Funeral for a Friend to Motorhead to The Morning Chorus, Tom of whom was in just the other week. So, you know, there's connections everywhere.
Good old Tom still go?
Yeah. Good old Tom.
Ramesh is a really, really good producer, actually. So
Yeah.
he's done a few bands I've worked with before.
Such as?
He did a band way back in the day called Dividing the Line that were on one of the old labels I used to work for. It's kind of, you're talking 5 or 6 years ago now. But he's done everything down to, not so much the bands that I work with now, because they'll kind of tend to do their own stuff and record, because they were like fiddling with buttons and take 3 years to record 4-track albums and stuff like that.
So in tonight we've got 2 guests ready to tell us what they think of that Ocasan track and the 2 other songs we're playing tonight. We've got Alex Berry, the bassist for Threads, and we've got Joe Payne from the Enid.
I couldn't fault that track. I thought that was absolutely brilliant.
That was a really, really good track, actually. It's great to hear some fresh stuff like that coming out of Northampton. Yeah, I can't fault it. No, the production was really clean and crisp. It was really catchy. It was, you could tell it was well thought out song as well, kind of in terms of the structures and kind of how they put it together and such. So
even the production side with the panning of the music from speaker to speaker, I could just they just put so much thought into that, and I couldn't fault the performance. I couldn't fault the composition. I couldn't fault anything about that. I guess I'd just have to see them live and see if I can find something critical about that, just to balance the books. I don't know.
I mean, the times I've seen them live, they've been as tight as like you would see on CD. Okay, maybe the penny whistle isn't the greatest sound in the world, but to see them at a decent venue with some proper sound, proper engineer, that'd be wicked. Like, they sounded really, really good. Going back to Radio 1, you probably wouldn't hearing. So again, I haven't listened to it in ages, so I probably wouldn't know. But yeah, I imagine that would be the kind of thing that would be on there.
If I heard that on Radio 1, I wouldn't question it. I would be like, great. That's exactly what the quality I would expect to hear.
Yeah, I don't think they've ever been on Radio 1. They've been on Kerrang Radio a bit.
No, I think a record like that it's earned all the airplay it gets. It's earned it
for sure.
That's great.
They got no.
Well, they've been on Unseen Radio. I mean, what more could you want?
There we go, yeah, exactly.
It's the top. It's all downhill from here.
Royalties.
Did you say they were releasing an album as three
4-track EPs?
That is a really cool idea.
That is, yeah. I really like the EP as a format.
So do they all then come together at the end as a sort of box set album?
Well, maybe they're just releasing the album as a CD as well.
Yeah.
And then releasing
at the end, then you can get it all at once as well, maybe.
Yeah.
I think it's a good idea, though. Keeps the momentum up.
For sure. I mean, one thing I've always maintained with like some of the bands I work with, and a bit background if I can be as self-indulgent, but I work for a couple of record labels as well, and what we try and do, that's outside of Threads obviously, having talked to kind of some of the people that I work with, I tend to find, and I am of the opinion, that if you release kind of music like that, or not specifically like that, but if you release music in kind of shorter, before you've done your first album, if you can release kind of EPs and stuff, you can keep the momentum up. Well, like you said, they've kind of, what they seem to be doing is drawing out that album process or that album cycle, whereas if they drop the album, then it'd be 3 months, and then kind of people would have maybe forgotten about it. If they can do that in like 3 chunks every 3 months and drop tracks here and there, they can keep the momentum up for a good 9 to 12 months if they do it correctly, kind of thing. So it's a really, really good idea.
Yeah.
From a business perspective, that's probably not why you got me on here. You just probably wanted to hear about the song, didn't you?
Yeah, we just wanted to slag off some artists.
I could do that if you want.
Maybe some of the next ones we're listening to.
Yeah.
No,
but yeah, I think you're right, and if you release the tracks at a slower rate, then you give your audience more of a chance to become familiar or create some sort of relationship with each song on its own. Whereas if you release that whole album at once, you're gonna kind of pick your favourites, and then the rest are gonna fall a bit by the wayside, whether or not they deserve that or not. And if you release them slower, then each track as it comes out, it can then be referenced back to a specific memory, and it's all therefore they all have the same fighting chance of being someone's favourite, which is quite a nice romantic idea.
Even down to the level where, I mean, I don't know what setup the guys have got. From my understanding, they do have a pretty decent setup, kind of a decent team behind them as well, but even down to kind of breaking it down, putting it out for reviews such as yourself, Ben, and other people who are reviewing, and there's always something new to talk about. So just looking at kind of their name popping up more often in search features and stuff like that, and on websites, people are more likely to check them out and grow their fan base. So that's at least my theory anyway. People will probably pick holes in it, so feel free. But
and I think as a whole, people's listening habits are changing, and people won't necessarily listen to a whole album anymore.
No.
Whereas little 15-minute EPs,
people these days tend to have shorter attention spans. I think that's because of the digital age, as it were, which, like you said,
the internet.
The bane of my existence. But yes, no, I think you're spot on there. It's a case of, people have short attention spans, so being able to release an EP, I just really like that idea, and I'm kind of glad that those guys, then you mentioned that beforehand, and it kind of gives a whole different perspective, at least from my point. Again, I tend to think of stuff from other perspectives, so sorry if I'm rambling, guys.
Actually, Charlotte Church has done the same thing.
Has she?
Yeah.
Maybe
and
they
she
nicked it from her.
and
Maybe she nicked it from there.
Hers are 5-track EPs, and she's called them 1, 2, and 3. And 3 was released as an LP. I think it might have had 6 tracks. But 1 and 2, although they were 4 or 5 tracks long, they were released technically as singles.
Yeah.
Just to sort of like build up to it, and although it hasn't had a huge amount of commercial success as far as I know, I mean she's not interested in that at all. She's just interested in being an artist, and she knows that she can't sing like she used to be able to, and what she's doing now is actually creating something that's just a bit sort of experimental and proggy, and it's all just a bit random, people banging drums and shouting and dynamics and bizarre stuff.
Yeah.
And so different to anything she'd ever done before. But
I kind of really want to hear that now.
Oh yeah, look it up.
I can't imagine Charlotte Church going prog.
It's all on Spotify, and the first time you hear it, you're like, I have no idea what's going on. But I really respect her for kind of taking that step.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, Joe's talking about prog again.
I can't help it. Sorry.
You've got 2 prog heads in the room now, so.
Fair enough. Right, let's go on to song number 2. It's by a guy called Samson GreenWave. He's part of the GreenWave crew. This is going to sound really weird in my English white accent because he's from the Jamaica, but this song is called Inner Me Zone.
Samson GreenWave. www.greenwavemusic.com. This is the next thing. Mix up English / Yardi accent in this one now. You hear? Yeah. Gotta keep moving. Samson GreenWave. I'm in my zone. Me always stay in my zone. Me always stay in my zone. I'm in my zone. Me always stay in my zone. Me always stay in my zone. Hardly sleeping, my eyes are droopy. Writing so much lyrics, feeling like I'm lucky. I'm up all night, that's why I drink so much coffee. I'm alive and I'm strong and I ain't no dopey. Very motivated out to try to make that money, so my son can have anything you want. You don't have to go and hustle, end up in a coffin, end up in a bin, or end up get stabbed or shoot, or end up can't use a muscle. Listen, you gotta keep focused, work hard for what you want, cause these haters will choke you now. Them no want to see you make it, them want to see you fall. No want to see your rise, no want to see you none at all. Them try to stop the drones crew, but we just keep rising. Unstoppable force like the God's wind. I'm in my zone. Me always stay in my zone. Me always stay in my zone. I'm in my zone. Me always stay in my zone. Me always stay in my zone. Look, haters don't wanna see me make it. Look, man, I write down none of me lyrics. Freestyle every day, GreenWave, so we do it. Me up, girl I pre me, girl I feel me. Man a bad man, the body pre we. GreenWave Panther, you no see we. Yeah, that's one fishy, so we drop. Whoa, you must see mad, me have a right. I'm in my zone. Me always stay in a me zone. Me always stay in a me zone. I'm in my zone. Me always stay in a me zone. Me always stay in a me zone. I'm in my zone. Me always stay in a me zone. Me always stay in a me zone. I'm in my zone. Me always stay in a me zone. Me always stay in a me zone.
You're listening to Unseen Radio. That was Enemy Zone by, I'm getting better at saying that, by Samson GreenWave. If you didn't catch it at the beginning, you can find him at greenwavemusic.com. They've got a new EP out, him and a guy called Rumpus, who, if you know, did the chorus to Zed Bias. I feel good in the neighbourhood.
I don't know that.
Not in touch with.
Wow, Rumpus.
Also, it's a big sort of GreenWave family, if you like. They're all sort of, he's the big CEO, and they're helping out and trying to get us involved in other artists such as Never Ammo, Dirty Bars, Rente, J-Sim, and DJ Lee Banner. From everywhere from the Jamaica to the UK. It will now be called the Jamaica.
Is someone going to hurt me if I say something negative?
No, they're
about
all
this
in
track?
the Jamaica.
Oh, so there's no one here that can knock on my
some of
door
them
and
are
get
in the
me?
UK, but-
Because that, I'm a bit, you know.
Why?
I don't know. Maybe it's like names like Rumpus, like frighten me a bit. Why is he called Rumpus?
I don't know. You kind of, yeah. I don't even want to explain what I'm picturing in my head. No, it's probably not fit for radio or any other kind of public consumption. Yeah, is that like a completely off subject in certain respects? But is that where he says his website is that part of the radio track? I don't completely off. Why would you sing your website at the start of the song?
I didn't actually notice him do that, but what I did notice, there was somebody doing some really kind of like stuff. What was that? What was that? Like, was it? I don't understand what it was. It's just really strange. I don't know. Is it?
Don't look at me. I didn't make this
Is
up.
it R&B artists trying to have, like, doing something ridiculous to have your own voice? I don't know. I'm really confused by what I've heard.
I don't think I know too much about this specific genre, shall we say, to be able to kind of pick out kind of specific, like, stuff like that. Is it that, or is it that's that kind of mainstay? So I can't personally. I'm just, yeah, like you said, I found it a little bit confusing.
I think
You're all sounding a bit diplomatic.
whatever decisions they were making, like, I'd be interested to know what the purpose of each decision was for. Because the thing is, like, whenever you're producing something or writing something or whatever, you know, you every little decision you make, you know, it's got a reason for it, and the reasons are just to do with benefiting the track and making sure the track comes across as well as possible. But if,
At what point?
like, some of the things in that, some of it just seemed so basic that I wasn't sure if they were being lazy or if they just didn't know what they could do with it. And some of it just seemed so ridiculous.
Sounds too empty here. Let's
Yeah.
throw some whales in the background kind of
Yeah,
thing.
and some of it was just so ridiculous that it was just why?
I like the chilled vibe.
Yeah. Maybe they were trying something experimental. Nothing wrong with that.
It was progressive R&B.
It wasn't.
Is it R&B? Is that the correct term? I'm going to get shot for not saying it right. Is it R&B?
Yeah, R&B from the Jamaica.
All right, okay, cool. At least I got that bit right. Not wholly fond of that. I'm not going to lie.
What did you think?
What did I think? I've heard some of their other stuff, actually. I really quite like some of their more reggae-ish dancehall sort of stuff. But That, nah.
So they've got stuff that's better than that.
Yes.
Why didn't you play that then?
Because, you know, we can't have people saying nice stuff about everything.
What if my life's in more danger because you played
Chose
a
that
worse track?
I'm not getting home tonight.
Why do we assume that just because he's called Rumpus, he's...
Incredible. Where are they at in terms of, like you say, you've heard some of their stuff before. Do you know kind of where they're at in terms of what was the purpose of that release? In terms of, is that a single or is that a track off of an EP, or like is that like their third album? If it is, I really hope it isn't.
I mean, it sounded to me like it was a
Like
demo.
a bedroom demo.
It was like a
thing.
sort of like, here's where we are now with it. This is the pre-released version, just so that when we've got the money together to hire a proper producer
studio.
and a proper studio, then we can remake this and make it sound great.
That's precisely kind of the impression that I got. I think, but the reason I asked that question is because I get the gut feeling that wasn't the intention and that wasn't the purpose of the track.
The fact that we have a copy of it and have just played it suggests to me that that was supposed to be the finished article. So
Yeah, they put it up for download and made a big thing of it, so...
Okay.
Unless they accidentally sent me a demo version. We're all being really diplomatic. But anyway, let's get on to the third
no, we're
track.
totally slagging it off.
Are we totally... Oh, right.
Yes.
And Rumpus is totally going to come along and...
Rump me.
Family show. Next up we got Merrin. This is Plymouth Fury. Plymouth Fury there by the artist Merrin. His name's Chris Purdy. That's taken from his Doom Cinema EP. You're listening to the Unseen Radio Review Corner. I'm Bedge. That's the third and final track that our two guests are going to be discussing. We've got Alex Berry, the bassist for Threads, and we've got Joe Payne, a vocalist for the Enid. That's EP. Each one of them is going to be accompanied by a short film that Chris has made that I'm really excited for. There's 3 tracks. One of them's quite proggy, that was the one we heard there. The second one's a bit more dronier, and the third one's quite sludgy, all very much guitar driven. So it's a good, varied EP. I'm feeling quite a little bit calmed, but also a little bit unsettled after that. I don't really know what to say, but then it's not up to me to say, it's up to you to. You've got the job of that.
I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
That was really good. I was just saying while I was playing, I think it reminds me a bit of, okay, minus the synth now, a bit of 65 Days of Static, maybe. Really, I tell you, it really does remind me of. Do you know John Murphy? He's the guy that composed like the, 28 Days Later, that main track that I forgot. He's the guy that composed that, and he's done a load of film scores as well. But it reminded me of some of his other stuff as well. Yeah. I really, really enjoy that kind of posty, kind of proggy kind of stuff. I really like the production on it as well. It sounded a bit like it was recorded in a church or some kind of big hall. Yeah,
it does sound very cinematic. Well, hence the name Doom Cinema.
It does. So it really creates a mood, and I can really imagine that being synced and used in, some kind of TV horror or any, it's certainly kind of the eerie sunrise after a night of running from zombies.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think that's great, and
zombies are a bit cheesy.
I'd really like to see them live, actually, because if their stuff is so varied, you know that you're going to go on a journey.
Yeah.
When you go to their show.
I just have that visual aspect you were talking about.
Yeah, I think he does have the visual aspects live as well, from what I've heard.
So
I can imagine them using props, I wonder.
Maybe.
And a lot of the progressive bands that I perform with will use props, and like they create their own little set out of the instruments and everything. I mean, we sort of do that too. Where, like, for us, it's all about the orchestral percussion and everything, and so you've got all this brass glaring at you, and you just, like, from the audience's point of view, I can remember being in the audience myself before I joined the band, and you just don't know where to look. You're just so totally overwhelmed by what you see, because it's so different to any other rock band that you are likely to see, because it's just not the same equipment, essentially. So yeah, it's like I'd really like to see them live, because that music it's just created all these colour splashes in my brain. I don't know how to explain it really, but yeah, I just like imagined all the colours just washing over me, washing through my eyes, and just
one of those shows you can kind of stand at and just sit and close your eyes and kind of quietly sway as it is to the music. You don't have. That said, we've just talked about the visual aspects. It's probably inadvisable to do that. But yeah, it's kind of, that kind of music where you kind of you go to the show and you'll kind of come out feeling almost like changed, I guess, in some respect. You'll come out feeling a little bit different to the way you went in, as opposed to a little bit sweatier.
So yeah, I liked it. I really liked it.
I'd be interested in hearing the kind of doomy and the sludgy bits as well.
The rest of the EPs are really good as well.
I have to get my ears around that. I really enjoyed that.
But that had a really full sound to it. It was really, really nice.
Whereas the Ocasan, I think that's the difference between the Ocasan track. That was really good, but you could tell it was recorded in a very kind of polished studio. I think it sounded very polished kind of thing, and that's no slight on anybody. That's the sound some bands and some artists go for. Whereas the last track, I think if it had been produced in the same way, then obviously it needed that kind of.
It didn't have the shit compressed out of it, basically.
No,
I think
exactly.
I mean, that's like everything needs some level of compression, but that just it was just allowed to be like the listener had to be listening to it, and it wasn't designed to be pushed on anybody. It was just take it or leave it, and enjoy it for what it is.
Yeah. For sure.
Well, Merrin, check it out. I'm sure we will be. So you do too, right? That's the end of the show. That's it. We've waffled on enough. So, guys, favourite songs of the evening?
Ocasan. For
Ocasan?
me, yeah.
Is it Ocasan or Ocasan? I think
I don't know. Is it? I guess it could be Ocasan.
I'm not sure, to be perfectly honest. I've always called them Ocasan, but
I don't know. I read it as Ocasan, but actually, technically, the vowels are in the right place for it to be Ocasan. So
maybe it's both.
I don't know. Maybe they don't mind.
Yep.
Maybe they wanted to see what people would do, and then thought we'll just go with that, whatever way people take it.
Yeah, because the Enid are already pronounced the Enide.
No.
And Threads.
the pet. Hey, you don't have it because you've got a "the" in front of your band name, but people sticking "the" in front of every band name.
Mm-hmm.
So the Threads. Sorry, I'm completely off tangent here, but the Threads. I get it with our bands. We get the Black Dogs, the Circles. No. But anyhow.
Well, do you know the operatives? No, sorry. I've done it then. Operatives. They've always been operatives, but for some reason we all say the operatives, and it's really hard to stop yourself from doing it. And I had to be taken aside by Matt White, the lead singer, because he said, please refer to us as operatives, because it's just that's what it is. Like, and you know, I've got the T-shirt. It says operatives on it. It doesn't say the operatives, and for some reason, you know, it's really hard to stop yourself.
Yeah.
I think new cassettes are another one, aren't they? They've always been new cassettes as opposed to the new cassettes.
But people say the new
I've always
cassettes.
say the new cassettes. Yeah, anyhow. Sorry, I completely went off tangent there.
Anyway, sorry, your favourite track of the night, please.
So I think I'm going to go with Merrin. Don't get me wrong, again, I liked the Ocasan track, but the Merrin track just, it just kind of spoke to me a lot more in terms of the production, in terms of the sound, and just, I guess, in some respects, that's the kind of music I like, that kind of post, kind of proggy stuff. Again, yeah, I'd quite happily just put that on a record at home and just sit and chill to that. And yeah, so digging that.
I think Merrin was my favourite too.
It was a close second for me. It was. I did really like it. Yeah. But yeah, the track 2, no.
So.
Never again. Maybe I'm asking for a rumping. I don't know.
And with that. Oh dear.
Right, Alex, you seem to have your fingers in. After rumping, sorry. You seem to have your fingers in all the pies. What have you got coming up?
Me?
Yeah.
What me specifically, or Threads, or what?
All the stuff that.
All of the stuff. Okay.
Are we going to be here all night?
Possibly. I can give you Threads. We're announcing a tour. We announced the tour last week. We've also got another couple of tours in booking at the moment, kind of just small runs at the moment. Unfortunately, with one of those bands that are still slaves to everybody's working hours. So we've got another couple of tours. We've got enough material, to be fair, at this point in time for another 2 EPs, but almost like Ocasan did, but not actually making an album of it. There is kind of a plan to try and get another EP out this side of summer. Whether we actually do that or not, it took us 2 years to get another 4-track EP out after the last one. So, and then with the other stuff, we've got loads happening. We've got, I think, generally work. We've got something stupid like about 10 or 12 albums coming out this side of summer, and there's a 2-man team working on it. So everything from a prog stuff that you might know, Joe Chimp Spanner, and a band called Sky Harbour from India, who are really, really good, down to some kind of more hardcore, kind of contemporary hardcore stuff by a band called Napoleon out of Plymouth. So
yeah, I think I've heard of them actually.
So not quite as proggy. Guitar player is absolutely nuts though. They're all about 19, 20. Ridiculous. They're just like, I'm sorry, I was gurning then.
It was a great face. It was. Get you to do it for the photograph, shall we?
Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, no, work's going really well as well. So yeah, thanks for asking. But yeah, with Threads, we've got some. In fact, we're actually playing at the Roadmender. I should probably plug this. We're playing at the Roadmender on the 6th of February. It's like a Northampton College night of us. Let's just come down and play. That'll be our next Northampton show. So if anybody's around, that'd be good to see you. Yeah.
Joe.
Okay, Well, my plans for 2014 have pretty well come together now. Lots of other gigs still filtering in, but our first show of the year is on the 25th of January in my hometown, of all places. It would be nice because it's the first time in a few years that I've done a show there.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to kind of showing any locals that turn up that knew me before what I can do now. Because it's 3 years worth of development that I've gone through. So it's quite a big deal for me on a personal level. But it's also the first show of the year for the 40th anniversary.
Yeah.
It's not really a tour, but it's lots of shows throughout the year. We've got some stuff in France. We're expecting to hear back from a festival in Germany, which we played at before. And last time we did it, it was us and Marillion. If we can't get on this year, then we'll be on next year. Is what they've told us.
All right, fantastic. Well, thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
You can find all the links on the Enid's website. Just stick it in Google or Bing, Ask Jeeves or any.
Yeah. And if you want a big weekend of prog, we're also playing HRH Prog 2, which is the second year running of HRH Prog, and this year we're supporting Fish. So that's exciting.
I forget Fish are playing that. I want to go. We've got a band called Chimps Band are playing. I don't know whether it's the same day as you guys.
It could be.
But Fish would be wicked.
Yeah, we're on the Saturday. As far as I know, we're just before Fish on a Saturday, so it should be a really good night.
Brilliant. Well, go Fish.
Go Fish. Look him up.
Thanks for that. Thanks everyone for coming. Thanks for coming on.
Cheers for having us.
Hope you all enjoyed it. Thanks to the Lodge. If you've enjoyed anything or absolutely hated anything or not really cared about anything we played tonight, all the links are below in the box. So there's a comment section, so get in touch. Let us know what you think, what we should be playing, what we shouldn't be playing, what you think of what guests we should have on. And please join me next week for the next show. This has been Unseen Radio. I've been Bedge. This has been the Review Corner. Over and out.
The Jamaica.
The Jamaica.
The Jamaica.
Right, I'll go put it on then.
Okay.